Good afternoon, everybody. It is Tuesday, April 17th. Welcome to a joint committee session of the Transportation and Environment and Government Operations and Fiscal Policy Committee work session. We have one item on the agenda today, and that is reviewing the Montgomery County Green Bank's NDA budget. As everybody knows, the Montgomery County Green Bank uses a mix of public and private funds to help reduce greenhouse gas emissions in Montgomery County. And the county executive recommends an increase of $2,485,474, or 14.7%, from the FY26 approved budget. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Kenny.
Thank you. So as you noted, so just under a $2.5 million increase in the executive's recommended budget for the Green Bank NDA. As you noted, there's this contributions from the county to the Green Bank are by policy meant to be 10% of the fuel energy tax revenues in any given year. I will note before proceeding, and this is spelled out on page 2 of the staff report, but this committee recently reviewed a Bill 226, that expanded the applicable uses of this county allocation to the Green Bank to be able to cover resiliency activities. The Green Bank has made clear that they can do this and make these investments within the 10% allocation given by the county. And so this is can be done all within the existing policy framework. So the executive's recommended increase of just under $2.5 million is intended to rebaseline the county's allocation to that 10% of the fuel energy tax revenues. The council last year took a two reductions to the Green Bank NDA budget. The first was a $1.08 million reduction given lower projected fuel energy tax revenues in FY26. And the other was a $1.14 million reduction due to affordability. This reduction was half of what the executive had proposed, which was just shy of $2.3 million. So the council was able to restore half of the executive's reduction in last year's budget, but this still put the county's allocation to the Green Bank below the 10% threshold. So the executive's recommendation for this year fits into two pieces. Happy to go through them both and then pause for questions or comments. The first is to rebaseline the county's contribution from FY26, reversing both the affordability reduction and the reduction due to lower than anticipated revenues, because the revenues were much closer to the annual growth level than was originally projected. Those revenues are included in the table on table 3 on page 3 of the staff report. This is reflected as a $2.29 million restoration. And then the second component of this is a $193,670 increase to align the contribution to the Green Bank to FY27 levels, marking the marginal increase from fuel energy tax revenues from the actual receipts in FY26 to the projected receipts in FY27. So per the council president's budget approach, neither of these items are recommended to be added to the reconciliation list. The committee may make changes as it sees fit, but council staff recommendations are for the committee to recommend approval of these items as recommended by the executive.
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Kenny. Before I turn it over to Mr. Morrell, I was remiss in not asking my co-chair if she had anything to add.
I'll just quickly say thank you to the chair. And I guess I'll say this here, and Mr. Morrell, I'll turn it over to you. I think it's important that we accurately depict what happened last year, because the county executive gave us a budget in which he actually did reduce, and I know, Mr. Kenny, you said that, but the way the packet reads, the council ultimately voted yes on the budget, but we did all we could to get the Green Bank back its money after the county executive gave us a budget that reduced it. And I think we had many conversations here about not just in these two committees that we had last year, but the full council about how important the Green Bank is and the work that you do. And Mr. Morrell, I'm going to give you your moment to shine in a second, but I did want to note that at the outset, because I think the narrative is very important, because there has been a commitment by this council to the Green Bank and to fund it for the work it does. And so I wanted to start by saying that and reset us.
I knew you were going to say something important and worthwhile, and it is good to reframe it that way. Mr. Morrell, welcome.
Oh, thank you very much. I will keep my comments brief, and I'd be very happy to answer questions. I certainly would agree with the comments made and very much appreciate the recommendation that's in front of the council at this stage. One of the points I made last year about keeping consistent with a 10% allocation is that's actually very important for secondary markets, particularly the capital markets, to have confidence in what we're doing from an appropriations basis. So we can always go to the capital markets and try and raise money based on the strength of the projects that we're doing, because we know they're strong and we work hard at that, but that's not going to be really scalable to the type of scale we need to meet our GHG targets as well as climate resilience within the county. Instead, if they know that we're relatively consistent around 10% in an appropriation, we can leverage that for capital markets issuances. So that was very challenging last year, and I very much appreciate the recommendation this year to restore that. I think that will be important. The other point that I would like to make, again, I'm happy in Q&A to go into more details of any questions that you have, but I do want to remind these committees of the leverage factor that we bring, and that's really where we see the value of any type of budgetary increase on a dollar level, but the restoration to the 10% here. On a portfolio basis, we're getting around 4 times leverage of public dollars that we're looking to increase next fiscal year to 5 times. So on an overall basis, we're looking next year to try and deploy between $25 and $30 million. That would be the full deployment from the energy tax plus other sources in order to do $150 million to $200 million worth of project value. So we get quite a bit of project value, which I think is critical in the market, particularly as there are regulatory interests of the market, for example, help with meeting BEPS compliance, that we really want to be out there. We anticipate that'll be about 50% plus of our entire portfolio. And those are big project dollars. So we appreciate every dollar that we can get, and I think this recommendation is a great way to get there.
Appreciate the direct brevity in which you shared your remarks. You alluded to what my question is going to be, and it is about BEPS. You just noted that 50% of the work. Can you elaborate on the kind of work and the cost of that work?
Yes, absolutely. So we anticipate on an allocation basis of our portfolio about 45% or more dedicated to BEPS, approximately 20 to 25% in resilience and adaptation, 15 to 20% specifically on solar, and 10 to 15% on EV charging support. So most of this support by property type will go into the commercial and industrial space, along with multifamily properties. We feel like these property types require significant support in meeting BEPS compliance, and we have the capability to do that. We have a general purchase order window of up to $5 million on a technical assistance program that we put out, and we anticipate that will be utilized in the upcoming year in order to help catalyze the market for BEPS compliance. We've spent about half of that to date so far, and so we do want to make sure we have the resources of $2.5 million to help catalyze that. What we do is we support technical service providers in helping the market understand feasibility studies, ash rate energy audits, other types of resiliency studies. And we recently started a new pilot program with the Department of Permitting Services to particularly help disadvantaged communities meet permitting requirements with respect to energy projects and BEPS compliance. And so we feel like that TA program is really the crux of catalyzing the market that we want to push for in this upcoming fiscal year. On top of that, our financing, like I mentioned, approximately half of the $30 million that we want to deploy will go towards supporting BEPS projects. And we want to leverage that with the private market, which we do through co-lending and other type of financial structures at least 5 times. And so that would be pretty significant in terms of what we would be able to deploy into BEPS projects. In terms of our budget, on a resources basis, on a personnel basis, we have approximately 15 to 20% on any given fiscal year of our annual revenues dedicated to our operating budget. And so we would want to be very lean on that continuing forward just to make sure that we're very efficient. And so I do predict that we will be within that range on an operating basis, even with this recommendation. And so we're not looking to scale up significantly with new FTEs or anything along those lines. We'd keep relatively consistent, but then just focus on our strategies. And I'll be happy to get more into that, but the strategies are about productization and scaling the activities for enacting multiple projects with a single type of transaction or limited resources.
Thank you for that deep dive. I'm personally going to follow up and I'm interested in learning more about some of those details you shared. And from my own perspective, I'm also interested in how international global affairs is affecting the work that you're doing, recognizing that you are relying on a network of producers from around the world to allow us to install energy efficient material, right? And so that's a different conversation, but open it up and turn it over to my co-chair.
I'll let other folks go.
There we go. Councilmember Balcom. Sure.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do. I think this is just a fantastic program, and happy to support it. We worked so hard on BEPS, so now I'm just, my mind's turning about. So what is about the average size of the project that for energy for buildings that are coming in?
Yeah, we see an average size around $1.5 million per project right now. That would be for a retrofit in order to do some type of energy efficient measure. But it's actually a pretty wide range, really dependent on the needs, ranging from 100,000 at the lowest level all the way up to 5 million is typically our largest size. So it actually is a very wide range.
And so one of the things that when we went through it was the major overhauls of just completely doing the whole venting and all the HVAC and just all of it, right? To Chair Glass's perspective, do you have any idea about their ability to get the resources, to get the equipment that they need? What are your thoughts on that, if any?
Yeah, I'm actually not too concerned from a supply chain perspective, as one would expect in this market. One of the benefits of the renewable energy companies that work in the region, as well as a lot of the energy efficiency companies, is that they work in cooperatives for supply chain purposes so that they get the buying power of larger entities. It is a challenge for those entities that don't participate in that buying power. For example, solar equipment could take 2 years to get or longer. And so we're very fortunate that we have strong providers, technical service providers within the county to help meet those kind of needs. But the reality is that any type of large-scale intervention within a property, if they're completely redoing HVAC along with other measures, could take a long time no matter what. And so I do still anticipate those deployment periods to be 1 to 4 years really to execute on those projects.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. You're good? You're good. We're good. And we're going to do our best to make your budget good as well, as we have shown a commitment to, and as Both my colleagues on the T&E committee have said we have worked really hard to make the BEPS regulation as strong and useful as possible, and the Green Bank is the organization integral to making that transformation. And this is an incredibly important budget. So thank you for the work. Thank you to your staff and to your board. And without objection, unanimously approve that budget. And with that, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.